Today we're going to talk about homelessness in America, but it's really happening all over the world and how the real estate industry can help. The reason I'm doing this video is because I believe this is going to be one of the bigger issues in the next 10 years that we're going to have to address. And it's going to have to be solved through a public-private partnership by dealing with the politicians and the real estate developers to be able to put affordable housing for people so that they don't have to live in their cars and on the street. So I don't really want to go down the hole on what homelessness is because there's lots of components to it, obviously. On this one website, it talks about housing, choices in training, and of course, symptoms and supportive services. But the area I want to focus on, of course, is providing homes as a stable foundation for all the rest of the issues. The housing first approach, which I really resonate with, simply provides homes for people experiencing homelessness, regardless of whether they are sober, have jobs, or just have health problems. If we can solve the issue about affordable housing, then we can put more pressure on the other training and services that they obviously need. So what we can do as real estate professionals is be part of the solution in helping some of these homelessness issues. So most of you know that there's lots of pressures all over the country for affordable housing and rent caps and all kinds of things, and I can't blame people for wanting to try to put those on. There are three things in this chart here to the left. Obviously, lack of affordable housing, which is something that we can do to help. Two, the suffering economy. Can't really do a lot about that, but it's certainly happening, especially with this high inflation and lack of supportive health services. We also know that that's an issue. There's many different kinds of homelessness. Everyone has this perception that the majority of people that are homeless have some kind of addiction. I'm here to tell you that that's just not true. Definitely is true for a certain percentage. The overwhelming majority of the people who are homeless are in some kind of transition, and then they fall further and further behind. They want to work, they can't get ahead, and they don't have the jobs or the resources to provide them enough money just to get ahead and move into better situations. If you watch any of these scenarios, you'll see that many people are working 12, 14, 16, 18-hour days just to provide housing for themselves or their family because most of the housing in that particular area is just unaffordable, or the wages that they're working for are also very low. So as real estate professionals, how can we be part of the solution to put a small dent in this big problem in our local area? Providing solution to homelessness and affordable housing is something that a lot of people are working on all over the place. As you can see, there's a number of people fighting for this cause already. There's a number of studies on this issue. Here's a great one with the Urban Land Institute that you should go take a look at. There's studies from the LA County. There's studies from all kinds of places. Some of these are market-based solutions, and some of these are public-based solutions. As you can see, investing in REITs or putting together funds, those are really market-based solutions. On the public side, which we're going to talk about in a second, there are some states that are really stepping up and taking a proactive approach so they can fix this in the future. One of those public agencies is the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia. This, I believe, can be a model for many states moving forward because, as you can see, just these three things that they're working on, this is current. They're working on a strategic plan for affordable housing programs, and they have an entire dashboard that you can look at right now on the internet. The Housing Authority of Atlanta has also approved a 5-year strategic plan to create and preserve, which is a big part of affordable housing, 10,000 housing units. As you can see from this third article, they have over $500 million of funding to provide more affordable housing for the city of Atlanta. This is something that you can do in your area to provide additional pressure on your elected officials to try to work towards something like this. So this issue is worldwide, and I also found this article, which I thought was really interesting because this is a government program in the UK or the United Kingdom that actually says 1 in 200 people are homeless and how this fund can leverage real estate investing to reduce homelessness and provide solid 7.5% returns. So whether you agree it's public or private, it still is an issue that needs to be solved. So some of you may or may not know that 30% of the country's homeless population and 50% of those who sleep outside as opposed to shelters or temporary housing is in California. Whether you like the governor of California or not is irrelevant, but he has $3.4 billion in homeless funding for California alone for just 2023. So the big question is $3.4 billion enough to turn the corner on homelessness for California or not? There's all kinds of debate on this. This is a public solution that doesn't actually address the affordable housing issue. It simply just funds homelessness. These two issues, also California, show the bigger issue, and it's much more complex. This LA group says in order to build 500,000 housing units needed in California, they need policy change. This is another area that you can advocate. So this issue is not going away, and what it needs is leaders like you to be able to step up and create policies that affect change for long-term issues around affordable housing and homelessness. Now, the one thing that you're going to find around homelessness and affordable housing is a lot of blame game. So the reason I put this article here, because this has been tried before in many states. As you can see from this article, nothing about publicly subsidized affordable housing is affordable. Because what happens is by the time you actually build something like this, the fees and costs and people with their hands out to get something like this done drives up the cost for the housing itself. In this particular article, you can see that this one alone exceeded $500,000 per unit. And I can tell you as a builder that that should be at least half. One of the things you have to navigate is the government bureaucracy and the special interest groups themselves. So here are 5 things that I'm personally doing and things that you can do too. Number 1, contact your local state housing authority. Find out what their needs are and get involved and be on some of their committees. The number 2 is, are policy changes needed? And one of those is simply zoning. So can you get 1 house, 4 houses, 8, 20? How many houses or condos can you get on 1 acre piece of land? That's a policy change. Obviously, if you can get 20 on 1 acre versus 1, you're going to solve the supply issue. It's going to be lower cost housing, and it's going to be more affordable. 3, funding sources. This can change from state to state, county to county, but there's lots of federal and state money out there to be able to find these kinds of projects. There's money for developers, and there's money for tenants and residents and homeowners. Go take a look at the different funding sources because it can make the difference on whether you do something or not. Number 4, take a look at what is working in other areas. Things like the Atlanta Housing Authority that I just pointed out. What are they doing right? What are some areas not doing right? And bring those ideas to areas that might need them. I know that many elected officials are looking in other areas to see what's working in those areas because they're trying to bring those ideas back home, embrace those, and also be an advocate to know what those are. So when you sit down with these elected officials, you can actually bring them solutions because they are facing the exact same issue of high homelessness and lack of affordable housing. And many, many, many areas are doing this well. And lastly, get involved and be part of the solution. This sounds obvious. You really do need to get involved and understand it from every angle so you can start solving problems. To wrap up here, there were lots of studies about what is the actual cost of homelessness in the United States. Some people say $15 billion. I've seen reports of over $20 billion a year. You can see from California, they got $3.4 billion just for that state. The irony is that every single homeless person costs around $30,000 to $50,000 in supportive services when you actually put a price tag on each one. So the public actually pays more to keep people homeless than they pay to give them homes, which is completely stupid. So many of you want to know what I'm working on? This is something that's coming at us, and this is something that we can all help solve.